Roy, tell us what you think of this. Is this just a sort of inevitable thing that happens because so many people are being treated in hospitals? Is this actually in corridors? Is this actually something that's a responsible move? What do you think?
It is. I mean, there's not much else they can do. I mean, it's been a thing for quite a time. In fact, I was just looking it up. On the 13th of November last year, Wes Streeting said that he was going to consign corridor care to history and sack managers who allowed it to happen. So
yeah, that didn't last very long.
He's going to have a few sackings to do after this, I think. Look, I mean...
Are they letting it happen? He's talking about managers letting it happen. I mean, are they letting it happen, or do they have no option?
No, of course, it's nonsense, isn't it? I mean, how many times have you been kind enough to invite me to come and speak on your programme? And, I've spoken sort of blandly about the problem the NHS has with capacity. And now we're seeing what it means. When you run out of beds, what do you do? And the NHS has been running out of beds for a while. I mean, corridor care isn't new. And now they've been, I heard of one hospital where they've been converting offices into wards to try and find somewhere to put people. There is a risk, when you've got cables trailing and oxygen cylinders. So now they're actually plumbing in the oxygen into the corridors and increasing their number of electric sockets so you can put monitoring machines in. I mean, of course, it's a horrendous situation for the people who are involved. But what else can the NHS do? I mean, it's chock-a-block. It can't discharge people because if you think the NHS is in a bad situation, you should see the mess that social care is in. It just cannot find the care packages to get people frail, often very frail people who've been in hospital for a while, home safely. The NHS cannot discharge people unless they think it's safe because they have a statutory duty of care. So they are stuck. And the only solution to this, there is no solution to this now. The only solution is for people to realise the NHS is busting a gut and doing its best with what it's got. But the solution is it has to fix social care. And of course, what has happened? Wes Streeting has announced some kind of investigation. Baroness Casey, who won't report fully until 2028. I mean, it's a nonsense. Everyone knows what needs to be done. The Dil Not report, which was in 2011 and successive governments have ignored, is a perfectly sensible solution about, we won't go into it now, but I mean, it is a sensible solution to try and get social care back onto a proper footing. This situation will not go away, and the government have to urgently act on fixing what is really a broken community care system and its interface with social care. We're now in what managers call the capacity paradox. It means that the more capacity you create, the quicker you will fill it up. The answer to this is to stop people coming into hospital in the first place. All of these hospital beds are occupied mostly now by frail elderly people who will all have been on a frailty index list for their GPs. They're supposed to be visited, to be kept out of hospital.
Yeah.
It's not being done because there isn't the money or the people to do it. We have to stop people getting sick in the first place, and that means we need to urgently reform community care. The highest users, the biggest users of NHS emergency services are two groups, the over 65s and the under 9s. Both of those, so one is families and one is elder care, both of those are in the purview of community care, health visitors, district nurses and social workers. And we have to stop people coming into hospital. Otherwise, we'll be hanging beds off the ceiling and putting in two-tier bunks. I mean, it's a ludicrous situation that we've got to wait till 2008 to fix it. The government have to wake up and they have to get on and do this.
Okay, Roy, it's a really interesting perspective you have there. I wonder, I suppose, a question that some people might raise is why don't they put the people ready to discharge in corridors rather than the people in A&E necessarily. Would that work? Would that be something that would work in terms of...
I mean, look, the NHS isn't stupid. It doesn't put, it's really vulnerable people in corridors. I mean,
and within that, actually, are there too many people going to A&E? Are there a lot of people in A&E that shouldn't be in A&E?
No, I mean, there are stories that, appear in the press of somebody goes into A&E with a broken nail.
Or constipation or something, yeah.
Yes, I mean, look, no, the A&Es aren't stupid. They triage people, hi, how can we help you? What's wrong with you today? I've got constipation, really. Oh, sit over there. And these are the people that wait hours in.
Yeah.
If you elderly, frail, you come in, most of these people will have an upper urinary tract infection, which they get giddy and what have you, because they've been home, they haven't drunk enough, they've been sat in the chair, they've been cold, miserable, nobody's visiting them properly. So a lot of them will come in with very similar things. And then they will also have what we call comorbidities. That means other things wrong.
Yes, yeah.
So it exacerbates comorbidities. So like diabetes, they will be unstable. So they have to have their diabetes stabilized. They'll also probably have chest problems, COPD as we call it, chesty problems, and they have to be stabilized, antibiotics, that kind of thing. So no, I mean, hospitals aren't stupid. They're not, I mean, if people are really vulnerable and they've got a real problem, they'll put them on the ward and they'll move people around the system. That's why the advertising for corridor nurses, as much as it's been going on for a while and it's not new in the NHS, it is interesting that they are looking to recruit experienced nurses who know what they're doing and they can work under their own steam. So, look, the NHS, I mean, I talk to people in the NHS regularly. They are busting a gut to try and get through a very unusual set of circumstances. We've got the remnants of COVID. We've got novavirus, which is a dreadful virus, and it's a real killer if you're frail. You've got influenza and RSV.
Okay.
I mean, these are all respiratory problems. People come in, they need access often to air to get their oxygen saturations up, because if your sats go down, none of your vital organs work properly, and that's when people get very ill.
Roy, thank you very much. That's Roy Lilley there, who's a former NHS Trust Chair, and let us know your thoughts on all of that.